Hi there. There were no new announcements out of the first official Game of Thrones convention this past weekend, held by HBO in Los Angeles. We've been hoping for updates on a variety of things, that maybe there'd be House of the Dragon Season 2 casting announcements. Not the full slate, but like the first one or two, if they'd already happened. There was none of that. The only news we got about Season 2 was they mentioned in passing, they confirmed the rumor that yes, filming will begin next March. That isn't really news from the convention. That was going around for a while. We thought there'd be announcements of upcoming bonus content. There really wasn't. That the one real piece of news to come out of the convention was during Ryan Condal's panel, he screened a deleted scene that we'd heard of already from the finale between Bela and her grandmother Rhaenys, saying, "I'm a dragon rider like my parents, I want to fight." It's just a nice character scene, and it isn't a surprise. We'd heard it fully described in interviews already. But this has led to discussion of why did you cut this? And, well, there should have been 13 episodes. They needed more time. Actually, Ryan Condal explained, I sympathize. He said HBO handed down as a directive that the finale couldn't run overtime, because there's some international markets that intercut commercials in it, so there is a time limit. He said normally they're willing to ignore that for mid-season episodes, but for something big that you expect high ratings for the finale, they had to cut a lot of scenes that weren't directly related to the plot. Which explains why episode 10 kind of moved really fast without character scenes, which I hope we get back. But weird thing is, they didn't release this scene to the general public. It was just at the convention. And it's all over the place now because someone took a video, loaded it to TikTok, everyone copied it. It's all over YouTube now. In the description box below, I'll link to Red Team Review loaded it up to his channel. I'm not loading it up just because it's already everywhere, and the last thing I need now is a copyright strike. That you only get 3, I'm not going to risk it. It's not worth it because, it's everywhere anyway, and I wouldn't be able to monetize it, so whatever. But it's a nice scene. But they didn't even post it to, the HBO YouTube channel, which you think they would the day after a convention where it was publicly screened. So that's strange. It's a good quality camera up anyway, but we know there are over a dozen deleted scenes of various kinds, which have been making the rounds. When and how are we going to get those? On top of that, I really hope that they'd make some kind of announcement about the next set of Histories and Lore videos, the animated motion comics, that normally we get an hour of those per season, and they didn't mention it. Now, the thing is, they are putting out a Blu-ray on December 20th. It's just the in time for Christmas version with no bonus content. It's nice of them to put it out. Blu-ray is higher quality than streaming. But I said even before Season 1 aired, we are in a fall release schedule, not spring. People just fell into that assumption because Game of Thrones was always a spring release, that it'll be out in time for Christmas. Well, no, fall shows often don't have things out in time for Christmas. So I said, takes 4 to 5 months to make all the bonus content. Expect a Blu-ray around February to March. I was surprised when they put out the It's Just the Episodes version for Christmas, and good for them. But a lot of people just keep assuming it'll have all this content on it. And we've known since before the finale, a week before the finale, full description of the box set came out. And it just says it's got an hour of recut inside the episodes on it. Mentions nothing about deleted scenes, nothing about Histories and Lore, or audio commentaries. It would have. And I have a whole video explaining this. There's content rating websites that issue maturity content warning labels for things on your Blu-ray set, where, the BBFC website, we would have seen them list deleted scenes and Histories and Lore on the content rating websites, and they just didn't. And we've seen the box art since a week before the finale. Nonetheless, yesterday, right after the panel, WintersComing.net put up in their report on the deleted Bela scene, said, at the end of it, the last one was, presumably all the other deleted scenes will be in the Blu-ray coming out in 2 weeks. Do you even Google these things? It takes 30 seconds to look up the Amazon.com, Blu-ray.com page, which 2 weeks out from the street date would list all of the contents. That you think, I was emphasizing with a video, why does no one listen? You see, no one listens. No one bothers to look up that there's nothing on the Blu-ray, and it's a symptom of the wider problem that, from like Game of Thrones, people just assume things would work out. So at this point, I'm also scared that what with the Blu-ray market being what it is, because the streaming wars have impacted everything, I don't know if we'll even get a full Blu-ray set of other features, or if this is it. That we should count ourselves lucky we're even getting any Blu-ray box, even without bonus content. I do think that unlikely, because the deleted scenes exist. Even if they don't put them out in a Blu-ray, they should release them through HBO Max or on their YouTube channel or something. Maybe they're spacing that out because they want to, space out content through the gap year 2023. That might be probable. The thing I'm really worried about is if we don't get a new set of histories and lore videos, but like I said, they made like a few, like 30 seconds of new stuff for that thing Martin narrated in the week before the premiere. So I think they're going to make another set. I made a speculation video about that too. So I don't know, but the Bela and Rhaenys deleted scene was nice. Look at the link below. We didn't get any word on how they're going to release these things. And the Bela Rhaenys thing is just leaked. It's not even on their YouTube channel. So no real news on how they're going to release all of the deleted scenes. No news on if they're even producing histories and lore. No casting announcements. Now, I'm annoyed that there weren't big announcements, but don't get me wrong, this was not a bad convention by any means in terms of the convention experience. They said it wasn't even that well attended. Like, you could see the main hall had like half the people there, the cast are marked on it, but hey, it's a first-time con. But I've said before, and people who went there said, this was a pretty good slate of guests for a first-time thing, that they had the returning Game of Thrones actors, like Jack Gleeson, who's Joffrey. He doesn't normally do conventions, he came to this. They had Alfie Allen, Gemma Wellen, and then they added House of the Dragon cast members. That they had Paddy Considine as Viserys, they had Steve Toussaint's Corlys, Matthew Needham, they had Larry Strong there. Ryan Condal, well, he did a virtual panel. I consider that the same as an in-person panel if they're going back and forth with the audience. He did Q&A with the audience, talking about stuff, fielded questions on. Yeah, I wasn't fond of, we have to show Daemon is more furious than he's ever been by this revelation by choking Rhaenyra one-handed for a second. But he defended that as I was trying to show how upset he was that he was doing something out of character. Imagine, even though I disagree with that, Benioff and Weiss would never appear at a convention to defend writing decisions coherently. Remember after the Sansa rape when they just stopped coming to conventions? Ryan Condal didn't need to make an appearance at this. He didn't need to answer Q&A like he did. He gave honest answers. This is what a real convention is like. This is what a real showrunner acts like. Also, Ramin Djawadi came at the last minute, also a virtual appearance. We did a panel on the music. They didn't post a schedule or anything. That's what people said. They didn't need to. It was a one-panel upfront style thing. So they didn't want like people just coming to one person's thing then leaving, I guess. But no, it was nice. They didn't really need a schedule like that. It was hosted by the people who do the Game of Thrones podcast, which was nice. They apparently recorded more stuff with the cast members who came off screen. That in terms of who came, it was a good list. But I talked about this in my other preview videos of this, but last minute they got 2 new additions. Esme Bianco, who played Ross, and Tom Glyn Carney came. Aegon II's actor. He's going to be a big character moving forward. At the last minute, he was able to come, and apparently, just in terms of what they were only talking about season 1, but it's just really informative post-season interview panel format about your thoughts on Aegon II, and this was nice to have, even though it wasn't an announcement. And he did a co-panel with Jack Gleeson, so you have Joffrey and Aegon II fielding questions about their really malign characters, because they're not nice people. But he's saying, well, Aegon II, he's not a psychopath, he's just really flawed, he's a product of his upbringing. And at the end, Jack and Tom skipped off the stage hand in hand together just to goof around and look what friends Joffrey and Aegon II are. So in terms of cast making an appearance at a convention, this isn't, remember, like, the final Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con for Season 8, when no one wanted to come to what should be, the capital of nerddom, because it was a shameful season. They got a pretty good list of the cast coming to this. So we got 4 major cast members from House of the Dragon, the showrunner, the music composer, and all the other Game of Thrones cast, which of course I want to end strong with this. Kit Harington made his first convention appearance since Game of Thrones ended. And we had been hoping that he'd have some sort of announcement about the Jon Snow sequel spin-off that leaked, that George R. R. Martin confirmed, yes, they're working on it, it's a pitch, it's not greenlit. He didn't talk about it at all. I thought he'd at least, I didn't expect him to give a description of it, but I thought he'd at least acknowledge it exists. He didn't even remark on it at all. And we think they screened the questions that no one was allowed to, and I understand he's not allowed to talk about it, but I'd like them to, on camera, on the stage, just have him go for one line. Obviously that leaked out and Martin has confirmed it's real, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. I don't like all this backdoor dealing of, I'm going to ask a question. When they pretend they're not screening questions when they really are. Just have someone, like, if you're going to ask, so Tom, tell us specific plot points about what Aegon does in Season 2. He should have him publicly, I am not allowed to give you Season 2 spoilers. I can generally say what I am looking forward to about it. Nice thing about Tom Glencarney, a lot of Game of Thrones actors lied and said they read the books. The Varys actor, Conleth Hill, in the final commentary, he admitted a lot of people would just say that to shut interviewers up. And I would admit I didn't read them because as a conscious choice in my performance. So we have to be careful. Sometimes actors lie, but Tom said, I started reading Fire and Blood, but I got sucked in and ended up reading what happens in Season 2. So he got sucked in and read ahead anyway, which sounds plausible. He might be lying, but that sounds like he really did that. But with Kit, I can't tell if he's being truthful or not at this, that he wasn't allowed to talk about the Jon Snow sequel spinoff, which is not greenlit yet, though I assume it will be. There's a lot of buzz about it. He made some remark about, it's weird, it's like he's been in a coma or a time capsule since 2019. And I feel bad for him. Like, in all probability, the cast knows Season 8 was terrible. They know they ruined their show. But they can't talk about that just yet because they're not in a position to. It's still upsetting when they mouth the same talking points. It's not even insulting me. It's, Kit, don't demean yourself like this. You don't need to anymore. There was some point where someone had asked something about Season 8, and he said, well, I think it felt right for Jon to kill Daenerys after she burned the city. Something like that. When it's, no, that's deflection. We're criticizing making her someone who would burn a city in the first place. But from the way he said, and when they don't even try to explain the plot logic of Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet, but when they go to an appeal to emotion, but didn't it feel good when she was attacking the Ironborn? It was like, what? That's when you're trying to rely on, but it felt awesome, is denying that this doesn't make sense. But even the way Kit did it, you could tell he wanted to go on to the next question or something from clips I've seen that, again, I don't think Kit really believes that. I think he just feels he's obligated to mouth the talking points, the party line. This is a complex idea, that we've reached the point where Kit doesn't need to defend that anymore. And the fact that he's reciting that is demeaning him more than himself a disservice more than it is a disservice to us. That Kit, why are you even going through the motions anymore? This is sad. So, for the most part, they didn't actually talk about Season 8 that much. They talked about how he met Rose Leslie on set, how his favorite season was Season 2, when he met her, because they got married. All of that. But there were no Jon Snow sequel announced. Again, some people have been making clickbait leaks. Fake leaks of someone leaked to me a full plot description. Don't mislead people like that because you want more clicks. That is the definition of clickbait. I'm not talking about one person because more than one YouTube channel, Twitter source, or alleged news site has been posting clickbait about Jon Snow sequel, here's what's going to happen in it. And there is no... Speculation is its own thing, okay? That you can speculate all you want, but... And I can't objectively prove you're wrong, but people saying, oh, it leaked out. It didn't leak out. There is nothing yet. And it's just people trying to relive the hype of season 7 and going into 8, of that mindless hype where it didn't occur to me for a long time that the speculation as entertainment is the point. They're not trying to make accurate speculations. It's theorization is the entertainment. Coming up with the most interesting theory rather than the most likely one. And it's weird how it's like a shadow of what was going on in 2017, where by all accounts, by looking at the evidence, the show is falling apart. But no, I'm theorizing it's better than it is. Thankfully, it's a vocal minority, I think, is that I'm not seeing that much activity about the Jon Snow thing, even from the old hardcore TV show websites, thank God, and news sources, but it's annoying when it fills up our news feed. We just had a full 10-episode season. I'm one of the few channels actually going through the House the Dragons Built documentary series, which is full of info. Now, I've been busy with offline work, but it was like a switch went off as soon as the season finale aired. All of November was just speculation about there's going to be a Jon Snow sequel announced at this convention in a month. It's a year and a half until House of the Dragon Season 2. Channels and Twitter channels will not be able to sustain themselves by posting fake leaks about the Jon Snow potential spin-off project. I'm sorry I'm yelling about this, and it's not one person. Well, in this case, it is one person. Yesterday, someone made a fake Twitter account pretending to be IndieWire, and it looked legitimate. That it was like, it was calling itself like the IndieWire online edition or something. At first glance on your phone, it was retweeted to me, so I thought it was real. And it fooled me. It fooled a couple of genuine YouTube reporters who I don't think post clickbait, thought this was real. And it was really upsetting because then I actually asked the head reporter on House of the Dragon and Entertainment Weekly now, Nick Romano, I went, what the heck is this? Because it claims that Deadline and IndieWire confirmed this out of the convention. Is it the report? 6 hours later, I thought the reporter just didn't have their article up yet. And he said, this isn't even a real Twitter channel. This is a fake, someone pretending to be IndieWire. And wow. So I just thought it was new because I didn't look at the full thing. Oh, right, there isn't a check mark right. So, check marks. Welcome to Elon Musk's Twitter. And I'm going to leave on that warning that in the coming year, even for just House of the Dragon Season 2, with the state Twitter is in now, people are going to be making not just clickbait for their channels, but fake Twitter accounts pretending to be mainstream entertainment news sites. Like, what if tomorrow I look at a seemingly plausible rumor until I look at it and realize this isn't the real Variety Twitter feed or the real Vanity Fair Twitter feed. Like, Deadline Plus isn't a thing. This is a phony account. But if enough people get duped, you go, well, 100 people retweeted it. You don't think to check. 100 people got tricked. So the verification, thankfully I held off on this if I was waiting for an article, then one didn't come, and I went, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I asked. But the level of clickbait about the Jon Snow thing was to the point that it wasn't just people going, I have a leak, but someone made a fake Twitter account pretending to be a news site of merit that got a leak that didn't exist. And it was really upsetting that it did this. And for people who got fooled, I got fooled. I don't blame them. Just these things happen. But I don't think how long can you hook people in with rumors of it and speculation on a Jon Snow thing where you're ultimately not just repeating yourself for the next year and a half without any new content on it. So I'm here working on it. I've said everything I can about the Jon Snow thing. There's nothing more to say. In many ways, I agree with David Lightbringer that he said nothing could fix this. If you have fantasies about that this could fix it, it isn't the real ending. It's not the book story. Though I agree with what the Quinn's Ideas said, where he said, I already felt this way, give Kit Harington a chance to end the character on his own terms, because it's already been so badly ruined. Give him a shot. The mere existence of the Jon Snow thing means that Benioff and Weiss did not make the perfect ending for this character. And I've directly compared it to how, like, X-Men 3 was such a bad movie for Wolverine. Give him a Wolverine 2, where he's in the forest mourning Jean Grey, or Logan. Like, maybe this is his Jon Snow's Logan, essentially, like a smaller scale character piece. After the character got ruined in a bad movie, let him end it on his own terms. So, with Kit Harington's case, I'm supportive of him as a person. That there is no Jon Snow anymore, except the Jon Snow of the books. As a coherent TV character, it ceased to exist after season 4, if not before that. But I support Kit Harington doing Kit Harington's fanfic, for Jon Snow deserved better than that. But I have said all this in longer videos before. I'm not going to go in more in depth. Thing is, I was hoping for announcements of maybe casting or bonus content. I will end on this, though. Why would they announce, what is this, a week before the Blu-ray is released, the no frills, no bonus content Blu-ray? Why would they, at this convention, go, there's a second Blu-ray coming out in March, which will actually have all the bonus content? Immediately, no one would buy this one. So my theory is they often have announcements like around New Year's, maybe New Year's, or maybe a little later than that. They will announce there actually is a full Blu-ray set coming out. It might not come at all. It might be by March, when they're done with these things. It's a matter of delivery platform. Maybe it'll be a straight to HBO Max thing, where they go, we're putting all 12, there's probably up to 20 deleted scenes of varying size, straight to YouTube to keep interest alive in the show, or straight to HBO Max, the Histories and Lore, hour-long set of motion comics, but it's coming in March. Whether on a Blu-ray or for HBO, don't expect that before then. So I've made videos before going, these are the dates that we have to keep in mind before Season 2 filming begins, when we'll get spy reports to talk about. Season 2 filming begins in March. We'll have spy photos and casting news will come even before that, though. How are we going to get through the winter from December through mid-March? We were looking at like 3 months worth of time. January 31st, which I say February 1st just so people get in a February mindset. It's not January. February 1st, we're getting the really thick Making of House of the Dragon behind-the-scenes book, for which from preview pages we've seen is filled with information. And we're going to have fun reading the print off that line by line, data mining it. So that's going to be a giant, even if we don't get a Blu-ray, that thing is more than a Blu-ray's worth of content. And that's in about 6 weeks. That's the next big date to look out for. And hazily, maybe February, I think we might be getting a Histories and Lore through one means or another, Blu-ray or HBO Max. And then things will kick into high gear again in March. It'll be like back in, well, a lot of you weren't here back in May of 2021, that there were so many leaks for House of the Dragon Season 1. They didn't send out takedown notices because I don't think they wanted they didn't want to get rid of it. They wanted people to be discussing House of the Dragon because they knew it was a dead franchise. And they were happy that news sites or fan channels were pouring over the spy photos. Whereas like Game of Thrones Season 8 would have sent down takedown notices, they didn't. I hope that doesn't change because they want to encourage buzz about it. So long as it's not like a super spoiler photo, but just like, and here's a guard in armor or something for casting speculation. So that will start up again. Also, going to make a separate video. They actually got nominated for the Golden Globes. Are starting up again. I think their award shows are a joke, but that'll get them in the news come January is award season, and then the spring they have Emmy nominations announced. So there's going to be stuff in the news that we're on Christmas break now. There isn't really news out of this convention, but I've been busy for a month, so I have, in Christmas break, I have like 6 weeks of catch-up time on like the dozen analysis videos I wanted to get to that I didn't. So I wouldn't say this is a disappointing convention, just because there weren't any announcements. In terms of the cast that came, it was great. They intended to do this last February as a lead-in to Season 1. It got delayed due to COVID. I think if they do this convention again, it'll be in the lead-up to Season 2. This was meant to be a pre-season thing, not a post-season thing, and I sympathize with that. So I like and appreciate everyone who came. The Ryan Condal came. Small-scale affair, but building there. Liked that the cast members came from both the old show and the new show. Just the combined, there's clips going around of, It's the Joffrey and Aegon II battle. Good stuff there. Or like Jon Snow posing with Kit Harington posing with Paddy Considine, and they put out, this is through the official Twitter channel, Targaryen energy, because Jon Snow's really a Targaryen, and here's his ancestor, Viserys I. So, all good stuff. Want more announcements, but they come when they come, and there's still a lot of other info to go on, and 6 weeks isn't as long as you think it sounds before we start getting casting news, because if they're filming in March, they probably already cast Cregan Stark and Jane Arryn and everyone else. They just don't feel comfortable announcing it yet, given the rate at, like, Emma Darcy and Liv Cook said they were cast 2 months before they were announced. So if we're barely 3 months out from filming, we will be hearing other casting news soon. So the Jon Snow stuff, I'm almost relieved we're not getting, because it was getting annoying how much people were fixating on that with nothing to go on. I'd rather people get excited when there's solid news to be excited about, not this empty speculation, which I think has run its course. I'm going to make some follow-up videos to this one talking about specific things that came out of the convention, but that's pretty much it. The only real news was they screened one deleted scene and didn't actually say how they were going to release them, which implies they're going to release them a different way later.